38M, am sitting in an airport lounge in my home city, sipping a ridiculously overpriced whiskey. My phone is buzzing itself into oblivion on the table beside me. I'm ignoring it. The calls are all from an international number, but I have a pretty good idea who is on the other end. Here's the thing. 2 days ago, I thought I was on top of the world. My wife, Mary, 35F, and I landed at a stunning, all-inclusive resort for our 10th anniversary. We're talking private villa, infinity pool, the works. I've been saving for this for years, a grand gesture to celebrate a decade together. Things have been a little rocky, maybe. A bit of distance. She'd been spending a lot more time on her phone, quiet little smiles at texts from her work friends. I chalked it up to stress. Her new marketing job was demanding. I figured this trip, this complete escape, would be the perfect reset button. Last night, we had a candlelit dinner on the beach. The sky was clear, the stars were out. It was perfect. I was about to give her gift, a custom-made necklace with 10 diamonds, one for each year, when she put her wine glass down. Mary, James, we need to talk. My stomach dropped. That's never the start of a good conversation. Me? Okay. What's up? Mary, I don't think this is working anymore. She wouldn't meet my eyes, just stared out at the ocean. I want a divorce. It felt like a physical blow. A decade of my life, summed up and dismissed between the appetizer and the main course. I just stared at her. The sound of the waves suddenly felt deafening. Me? You're telling me this here? Now, on our anniversary trip that I paid for? Mary, I thought it would be better to do it on neutral ground. Less messy. She finally looked at me, and her expression was just indifferent. I've been unhappy for a while, James. I've met someone. Of course, she had. The work friend. It all clicked into place. The late nights, the secret smiles, the coldness. She didn't just want a divorce. She had already moved on and was using my grand gesture as her exit stage. A weird sense of calm washed over me. The hurt was there, a deep, gut-wrenching ache. But on the surface, it was like a switch flipped. All emotion just ceased. It was pure cold logic. Me? I see. Well, if the marriage is over, it's over. Why wait? I stood up, left the uneaten food, the unopened gift box, and walked back to our villa. She didn't follow. I packed my bags. Quietly. Methodically. Then I went online. Asterisk her flight. Our return flights were booked on my credit card. It took less than 5 minutes to log into the airline's website and cancel her ticket. The confirmation email was a beautiful thing. Asterisk the hotel. The entire 5-night stay, all-inclusive package, private villa. Everything was secured with my American Express. I walked down to the 24-hour reception desk. I explained that I had a family emergency and had to leave immediately. I settled my portion of the bill up to that point. I made it very clear that my wife, Mary, would be remaining for the duration of the booked stay and would be responsible for all further charges, including her own final bill. The receptionist, a very polite young man, noted it all down. Her name was now the sole name on the hook for that very, very expensive villa. Asterisk communication. I blocked her number. Then I powered my phone off, took the shuttle to the airport, and bought a one-way ticket on the first flight out. I landed about an hour ago. Turned my phone back on. A flood of texts from Mary, escalating from confusion. James, where are you? To panic. My key card isn't working for the main gate. To pure rage. They said you left. You canceled my flight. James! And then the call started. From that international number. I'm letting them go to voicemail. The latest one, which I did listen to, was from a man with a stern voice identifying himself as hotel security. He informed me that a Ms. Mary Benson was being detained in their office regarding a significant unpaid balance, and that she had listed me as her emergency contact. I just took another sip of my whiskey. She wanted neutral ground. She wanted to be less messy. I simply gave her what she wanted and removed myself from the equation. She's a big girl. She can figure it out. Update 1. It's been a week since what I'm now calling the Great Escape. The dust hasn't settled. It's been kicked up into a full-blown tornado of entitlement. Thanks for the support, by the way. It's strangely comforting to know I'm not crazy for reacting the way I did. The resort's head of security, Marcus, eventually got a hold of me. He was professional but firm. Mary had run up a bill of nearly $8,000 after I left, spa, wine, room service, and then refused to pay, claiming I was responsible. When her cards were declined, she apparently caused a huge scene until her sister, Nancy, 32F, and her parents wired the money to stop the resort from involving the local police. Mary got back a few days ago. The night she did, there was a pounding on my door around 11 p.m. It was Mary and Nancy. I had already had the locks on my house, a property I owned before we were married, changed. Mary, sobbing, "James, let me in. Please. We need to talk." Me, through the door. "You set the terms, Mary. No talking. You want a divorce. I'm giving it to you. All communication can go through my lawyer." Nancy, "Don't be an animal, James. Her clothes are in there. Her whole life is in there." Me, "She can arrange a time with my lawyer to have a police escort retrieve her personal belongings. She is not setting foot in this house again." The entitlement was staggering. They genuinely believed she could detonate our marriage, announce she had a new man, and I would just let her stay in my house while she figured things out. After they left, the real retaliation started. This morning, I got a call from my boss. Apparently, an anonymous source had emailed our HR department yesterday, claiming I was emotionally unstable, prone to erratic behavior, and had abandoned my vulnerable wife in a foreign country, suggesting I was a liability to the company. The email was signed by a concerned friend. My boss, thankfully, is a good man and has known me for years. I calmly and briefly explained the situation. He just sighed and said, "Family law is messy. Just keep it out of the office." The complaint was dismissed, but the attempt was noted. They weren't just mad. They were trying to ruin my livelihood because they didn't get their way. This isn't about simple revenge anymore. This is about self-preservation. Final update. It's been 6 months. The divorce was finalized last week. The war is over, and it ended not with a bang, but with the quiet, satisfying click of a courthouse filing. Mary and her family did not go down without a fight. The smear campaign was vicious. Mutual friends got bombarded with a highly edited version of events where I was a cruel, controlling monster. I lost a few of them. Good riddance. Her lawyer was just as aggressive as Nancy. They came at me demanding exorbitant spousal support, half the value of my house, and compensation for emotional trauma and endangerment. My lawyer, a stoic woman named Ms. Albright, was a shark. She systematically dismantled their case. Asterisk the house. We provided the prenuptial deed. They argued Mary contributed to its upkeep. We provided bank statements showing I paid the mortgage and all utilities from my personal account for the entire decade. Case dismissed. Asterisk. Spousal support. They claimed she was a dependent housewife. We provided her employment records and evidence of her affair with her co-worker, Christopher. Ms. Albright argued that her choice to end the marriage to pursue another relationship negated her claim for long-term support beyond a short, rehabilitative period. The judge agreed. Asterisk the endangerment and HR claim. This was their big play. They tried to paint me as a villain. Ms. Albright presented the timeline and then produced the anonymous email sent to my HR department, pointing out the timing and unique phrasing matched Nancy's earlier accusations. She argued that the only person engaging in malicious, endangering behavior was Mary herself by attempting to get me fired. The judge's face was a picture. The real kicker was when Christopher, the new man, was deposed. It turns out he was also married, and his wife had discovered the affair. He was in his own messy divorce, had no interest in supporting Mary financially, and admitted under oath that Mary had told him she was handling her divorce and that her husband would make sure she was comfortable afterward. She had planned to have her affair, get a divorce, and have me fund her new life. Facing the likelihood of having to pay my legal fees, Mary was forced to settle. The final settlement was brutal for her. She got 2 years of minimal rehabilitative alimony, contingent on her proving she was actively seeking full-time employment. She had to pay her own substantial legal fees. The day she came for her stuff was the last time I saw her. She stood in the driveway, thin-lipped and furious. As I packed the last box into Nancy's car, Mary looked at me. "Mary, I hope you're happy. You've ruined my life. Me? No, Mary. You made your choices. I just let you live with them. I closed the door. I heard through a former mutual acquaintance that her life unraveled. Christopher wanted nothing to do with her once she became a financial liability. She's living in a small apartment an hour away, working a low-level admin job. Her grand romance turned to ash, and the comfortable life she took for granted is gone. As for me, the last 6 months were hell. But now, there is peace. I sold the anniversary necklace and used the money to book that solo trip I was thinking about. Somewhere quiet. My revenge wasn't loud. It was simply allowing the consequences of her actions to land squarely on her shoulders. She wanted a new life, and I made sure the one she had with me was well and truly over. And honestly, this time, the empty space beside me on the plane will feel less like a loss and more like freedom.